also. Let's keep this as it is. Yeah. So in our previous class, we learned about the conditional rendering. Conditional rendering means based on some condition, we are rendering some, we are showing some UI in our website based on the condition. So for this condition, you can use if else. So you can't use if else directly in your component. So you must have to use it out of your component. You can't use it if else inside your component, like inside the code of your return. You can't use it. So instead of, you can use this ternary operator. Ternary operator is very similar to your if else only, right? Instead of giving if else keyword like this, we are using some symbols like, if it is true, just print this one, or else print this one. So we can use this ternary operator inside your render. You can't use like this. I will show you. You can't use it like this. If logged in is true, then inside this curly bracket like this, you can't do it like this. Okay, instead of writing this if else condition inside your return, you must have to use this ternary operator. We learn about this ternary operator. Just you have to give the conditions like this. If it is logged in, just show me this UI, or else move to this one. So let's see this once again. So here I am in the VS Code. Yeah, see, it is there. So in our previous class only, we learn about this if else, like a ternary operator. So here I am giving one condition like this: names dot length, is it greater than 0, then show me this UI, or else show me this one. So in the else part, normally in ternary operator we give the else part after this colon, right? So same thing we are doing. You can't use the if condition here. This is not a proper approach. Like it will give you syntax error. You can't use the if condition inside your written. So inside your written, you can't use the if condition. So suppose I will show you. So here, instead of giving like this, I am writing if. Okay, so it will give you some kind of error. Instead of using this colon, if you try to want to write the else part like this, it will give you error. Why? Because it is not a proper approach to directly use the keywords. You can't use the keywords inside your return. In like for loop also, you can't use inside this return statement. Inside this return, you can't use the for loop also. You must have to use the map you can use, or filter also you can use. But like this kind of keywords like if else, switch also you can't use. So you must have to take it as in a separate function, then you can call that particular function. So yeah, then we learn this ternary operator. And for conditional rendering, we can use the and operator also. Okay, and operator, like in and operator, both the condition must be true. If any one of the condition is false, the UI will not be visible. So we saw that one also. Let me try to give the and condition here. So I am giving the ampersand here. So this else part is not required in that, right? So I am removing it. Directly I am giving the curly brackets. So let me run this code. Yeah, see, it is not showing me the two names. It is there inside your this states. Two names are there, but I am keeping one condition here. That is why we call this as conditional rendering. So I give one condition: if names dot length is greater than 3, then only show me this UI. If it is below 3, then the both condition is not true. So that is why it is not showing me this UI. If I am adding some names inside it, so suppose if I am adding some name like this, Still it is not showing because it is equal to 3. When I am adding one more name, now it becomes more than 3. So now it is showing me this list. So this is all about your conditional rendering. In conditional rendering we mostly use this ternary operator and we use this AND operator. Okay, we rarely use this switch there is one more thing, when we are using AND operator, you must have to explicitly state that it is must not be equal to 0. Why? Because uh, 0 is your what, falsy value, right? So but in array, if array is not containing any kind of items, it is still a truthy value. So always must try to tell it like this. So I want to tell you like this. Yeah, here I want to give condition like names dot length. Yeah, names dot length equal to 0. Then I want to show, instead of showing the list here, yeah, let me give the if else part here. Yeah, I'm keeping the if else part here. So instead of giving like a length, I'm explicitly checking it is must not be, it is equal to 0 or not. Why I'm checking like this? Because we know the empty array by default, like if it is not containing even a single object, still empty array is your what, truthy value. So what, that is why I am explicitly checking this condition, names dot length. If it is equal to 0, then here we have to show no items in the list, something. So I am giving instead of giving this UL, I am giving it here, no items. Okay, then after it I am giving this else part. Yeah, let's try to keep this here. I'm removing it and pasting that code here. Okay, so initially it is containing two names, so I'm just removing all the names. So still the empty array, we learn about the truthy values and the falsy values. So empty array is still a truthy value. So that is why we are explicitly checking here. If it is equal to 0, then only show this no items. If it contains any item, then only show this results. So let's check this. Yeah. So it is extra brackets is there. Let's remove it. Yeah, from here. See, it is showing you no items. Why? Because if you are checking it like this, if without giving this equal to 0, it will not just show you this one, no items. It will show you this one. Why? Because names dot length is still a truthy value. Let me show you. See, still it is a truthy value because empty array is a truthy one. So that is why we use this equal to 0 sometimes when you are dealing with like a arrays. So yeah, we can use the conditional rendering with the switch cases also. So for, like as I told you, we can't use the keywords like this inside your return. So for that you have to create a separate function like this. So we are creating a separate function. Inside it we are giving some switch cases and we are using this function. See, this is your component function. See, this is your component function. Yeah, let me change this. Okay, fine. So this is your component function. Inside it I am creating one more function, that is get weather icon. So we can't use this function directly, like we can't give this function directly, we are just calling this function. Okay, why we can't use this function directly? Because as I told you, inside this return there are some conditions. Inside this return you can't use the if else, or you can't use the switch cases also. In previous notes there are, the list is there, like rules are there inside the written, which things you can use and which things you can't use. So here we can't use the switch inside this return, so that is why we are creating all the functionality inside a separate function. Then we are calling this function here, that particular function here. So let me try to show you this code. Yeah. So I'm just taking this function from here. Yes. So inside my VS code, I'm removing all this forms item unnecessary code. All this list I'm removing, and removing this inputs as well. So this is just my normal component. The name of my component is name list. So inside this, like before all the functionalities, like if else conditions, and if you want to create some more function, you must have to create it. Like if you want to create some states also using use state, you must have to create it before this return. You can't create a use state you can't declare a variable like this const name equals to like this inside your return. It will give you some kind of error. So this is a condition, like you must have to create all the logical things before your return. So I am giving this function here. So I think, yeah, let's remove this one. This is extra. Yeah, the spaces is not correct. Okay. Yeah, it is just the icons. So it is going in the second line, so that is why we were getting that error. So now it's proper. So what I did, I just create one function. We'll learn about how to create a function. This is your arrow function. You can create a name function as well, like no issue in that. So I'm just using return here. Yeah, let's keep this as it is. Okay, so just try to understand this function. I just give the name of my function get weather icon, and this is my arrow function. Here I give some switch cases. So I am passing some weather here. So in this switch case, I just create one variable. So I am just creating a variable which is not dynamic. So if it is not dynamic, you can use the normal variable. So I am creating a variable using the let keyword. My weather is weather variable value is, let's keep it is recommending unnecessarily. So here I am giving sunny. Okay, so if it is sunny, it will return me this kind of icon. Yeah, so here I am using it now. Instead of it, I am just removing this one, removing this one also. So now I want to use this function inside my return. I want to use it. So for that, I can call that particular function. So to call it, like normally you can call it inside your like a text, inside your text, or inside your any tag, you can use it, but you must have to use this curly brackets. Okay, so let's give this. So I'm giving today's weather, and here I'm calling that particular function. So it will goes here. So from here also you can pass some value. So suppose if I am passing sunny from here, okay, it is not taking any weather. Okay, I'm passing weather from here, and I'm removing this one. So just see the output now. It is showing me this sunny, the sun icon. So if you are passing any different thing, like I'm giving rainy here now. Just see it, it is showing me the cloud. How it is working? It is working based on the conditions, right? And you are giving this condition inside one function. This switch cases you give inside one function, that is get weather icon. How can we call this function? You can normally call any function normal way, how you call in JavaScript also, same way you are calling this function. You are using the name of your function and giving this brackets. But to call any function or any variable inside your JSX, you must have to use this curly brackets. If you are not giving this curly brackets, it will give you like it will not work you properly as expected. Just see this. See, it is showing me the exact, it is considering this as text. So it is must to use this curly bracket, then only it will work properly. Yeah. So this is all like here we are doing some switch like a conditional based rendering we are doing. Okay, so we can use the switch cases also for doing the conditional based rendering. So yeah, next we have the list and case. We already map over a list, right? We use the map method to iterate over a to iterate over a list. So when you want to show many items, use dot map to loop through them and create the UI for each. Okay, so loop to through any list, we use this map method. And inside this list we have one more thing, that is keys. Keys is like a some why we use keys, like whenever you have the list like this, you want to show the list in your UI. So suppose I just create one list now. I'm removing this function, and here I'm creating one list. So const list, and removing this code also. Okay, so here I'm giving list, and inside it I'm giving some names. So it is recommending me, I'm just taking out. So inside it, for showing this list, like you can call this like, I will show you. If I'm doing it like this, I'm just using the variable name list like this. So just see the UI. See, it is showing without any spaces, but you want to show it in the form of like a list, like with some bullet points also. For that you can use the map method. So we can use the map list dot map, and inside this map you must have to give like how we use the map in our JavaScript, same way you can use the map here in your React.js also. So it will expect two parameters. First one is name, like name is your one by one names will be gone. Iterate, you can one by one name will be gone here. So here we are passing name, and we are giving some index number. So as we know, a list array contains the index numbers also. So I'm giving the index numbers also one parameter. So now I'm using the arrow function. So inside it I'm using, yeah, so I'm returning it p dot key dot index and name. So what it will do, it will show you the names, whatever the names are there. And inside this we are using key also. Why we are using key is, suppose it will help you the React.js. Why it will help you the React.js? First of all, let's complete this. Like this is like a theoretical part why we are using this key. Okay, so I think it is not properly closed. Yeah, let's remove this. Yeah, I think there is some syntax issue. Let's properly remove this first one. Then we will discuss about this list, why we, with this key, why we use it. Okay, now it's proper. So let's see this one. Yeah, Alice, Bob, Charlie, and Yana. All the names are properly visible because we are iterating over this array. Okay, how we are iterating, just we have to give the name of your array dot map, and each item one by one will be iterated. And inside this return we are just showing the names. But before showing this name, inside this paragraph tag we are giving one like a attribute we are providing. That attribute is key. Why the key attribute is necessary? Why passing this key attribute is necessary? Without giving this key, it is still work, like it is not mandatory. See, when I am removing this key from here, still it will work. Yes, see, it is also still working. But it is good approach to always give key. Why it is good? Because yeah, here we are mapping array of objects also. We will see this one also. Yeah, first let's discuss why we are using this key. So each time in a list needs a unique key. Okay, why we need a unique key every time? So React keep track, if you are changing some particular part, some particular item you are changing from your list, so to keep track of each and every item, it is giving one separate key to each item. Okay. So that is why we must have to provide the key. Suppose this is a list and you want to remove this particular item, so React will get the update. You are removing this item, you are adding some new item, you are updating some item, it will get the updates. How it will get the updates? Because of this key attribute. Okay, so like it is like an id number to each element of your list, to each element of your array we are giving some id. Because of this id, your React.js are able to understand if you are doing any changes to any particular item, it will get the complete track of it. So because of it, it is mandatory and it is good to give the key always. Yeah. So any doubt in this, why we use key props? Any doubt till now? Yeah. Okay. So as I told you, why keys matter, because React.js uses key to identify which item have changed and which have been added or which have been removed. Without proper keys, your component might lose their state. The list might not be updated correctly, and performance can be degraded. So that is why giving key is very important. So let's see how can we iterate over a object which contains some multiple arrays, like arrays which contains multiple objects. So instead of giving a single array like this, I am giving the key here, like objects now, like array of objects. So same way how we iterate over this one, same way you have to do it. So I am giving, instead of this list, I am giving users now. Okay, same thing we are doing here also. You have to give index, I am giving key now. So giving the index number as a key is not a good approach. So you can give id also. So I am giving name dot id. Yeah. So just see this, name is your one particular object. So from this object you want to get the name or you want to get the email, so you can use this name dot email. Okay, suppose if I want to render the that name also, so here I can give, I'm just closing this one. Yeah. So I'm using the fragments here. We learn about the fragments, right? Instead of creating a parent div, you can use the fragments, because written can't take the two different two elements. So this is, I'm giving the fragments here. So now I want to give the name also. So for giving the name, I'm using this p paragraph tag, and here I'm using this name dot name. So it will take one by one. This is your first object, and from it we are printing the name and we are printing the email. If you want to print the id also, you can print it here. So I'm using, to print the id, I'm using this p, same thing like this. Okay. So suppose if I am removing these fragments, it will give you error because it is must be wrapped inside one element. You can wrap it inside a div like this. Inside a div like this, you can wrap all the elements, or you can wrap it inside a fragments also. Wrapping inside a fragment is better approach. Why? Because you are not creating an unnecessary extra element. So that is why we wrapped it inside a fragments. So not giving any text inside this angle brackets, we call this as fragments. Yeah. So let's see the UI now. Yeah, it is showing me some kind of error. Let's see what is that. Yeah, there is some issue. Let's see, did we close it all the things properly or not. Yeah, actually we are already using the return. Let's remove this one. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, I think the syntax, there is some syntax issue. User.map, and we are giving this arrow function, and inside this arrow we are printing this one. So let's see in the notes what's the issue. So yes, yeah, we don't have to use the return keyword here, but yeah, we have to use the brackets here. So now just say check the UI now. Okay, yeah, see it is working fine. It is showing you the ID, email, and the name. Same ID, email, and the name. It is showing you. So it is showing. Let's keep this in a single line. So for that, I am using the bold tag. Yeah. Okay, so it is coming in the single line. So you can give the BR tag here. So after each iteration, the BR tag will be visible. It will take in a next line. Okay, so this is the way you can iterate over a array which contains multiple objects. So just now we learn about the list. So to iterate over a list, first of all you must have to use this map method, and with list you must have to give this key props. Why we are giving this key props? Because React.js will get the update whenever you are doing some changes in any particular item. It will get the update. Because of it, it is must to give this key props. Okay, so any doubt in this list, how to iterate over a list? Any doubt? Yeah. So yeah, we can like before directly showing the items in your UI, you can filter it also. Like directly you can use this filter, and then you can use this object, and you can use the map. You can use this filter. This is very simple. Now let's see what we have next. Okay, you can handle the empty list as I discussed already. Like when we are learning the conditional rendering, you can use this equal to, and you can check if it is completely empty. You can show some UI, or else you can show some different UI. Okay, so yeah, then we after this we have the forms in React. Okay, just now we covered the list in React.js. How can we show the list in React.js, and why we use the keys. Then we have forms in React.js. In forms in React.js, we already use this input fields, right? We already use these input fields. But in React.js, forms can be of two types. Like not forms, we can call this as components also. It can be control versus uncontrolled components. So control components means like normally how we use this use state to create any input field. Like we use this use state and create some states, like for email, password, and for name we create some states. Okay, but we have some uncontrolled components also. See this like input fields are controlled by your use state, right? Whenever you are typing something inside a input field, it is getting stored inside this email. How it is getting stored? Using this set email function, it is getting stored. So that is why we are calling this as a controlled component. So all the control of your input is under the control of this use state hook. Okay, is under the control of this use state. So that is why we call this as a controlled component. So we have uncontrolled component also. The uncontrolled component uses the use ref. So we will see that each one by one. What is control? Let's see first this control. We already discussed with this one, but still let's try to. figure out this one. So here I'm just creating two use states. Yes, so I'm going here. So I'm just removing this, and here I'm giving some use state. So I'm just creating one use state for email, password, and if you want to create a use state for your the name also, you can create it const. So this is just a normal way how can we create a use state. Okay, and I'm giving set name. Okay, and here I'm giving use state. So now after it I'm removing this one. Yeah, so just see it unnecessarily showing. Yeah, okay. So now I want to use it inside my UI. For that we use the input field, right? So first of all, this is some kind of form. So I'm creating a form, and inside it I'm giving some all the labels. Okay, inside this input we already use this input. Inside this we give some value, and inside this on change we call this set functions, which we give inside our use state. So we just use it inside our on change. Then similarly I create one more input. Yes, yeah, it is same only, right? So here also we are creating one more input, and for passport also same way. Yeah, now here we are just closing our form. So in this type button equals to type submit, I am giving submit like name of my button. So but in my form, yeah, in my form, on click of this submit button, on click of this submit button I want to do something. What I want to do, I create just one function. On click of the submit button I create one function. In this function I give some functionality, like I just prevent this the by default condition. By what is the by default condition of your form is, whenever user click on the submit button, by default your form will, like the page will be refreshed. So that is why I am preventing that by default condition. So that is why we are giving this e dot prevent default. So if we are not giving this e dot prevent default, this your page will be reloaded. Okay, let me show you here this one. Yeah, so just see this. I'm entering something, and I'm giving something here now. So here in this function I'm consoling all the things. I'm consoling my email, password, and I'm consoling my name also. You can use and you can show this in your UI as well. So we already discussed about it. So just see this, when I'm going to this inspect, when I click on this submit, see, the email is not in proper format. Yeah, let's try this one. It is showing me all the information. So when I'm not giving this e dot prevent default, the page will be reloaded. Just see this, see, it is getting reloaded. So that is why we use this e dot prevent default. So by default your form, whenever you click on the submit button, your form, all the page will be completely reloaded. So to overcome that issue we use this e dot prevent default. So yeah, this is a normal way, like how can we create a form items like inputs. This is, we call this as a control component. We call this as what, control components. We already learned how can we show this email. So if I want to show the emails below it, you can use it like this. Inside the paragraph tag I want to show all the items. So normally you can call the states, initial states, so it will be visible whatever the thing you are entering. Okay, this is the normal thing we already discussed, right? So whatever the thing I am clicking here, it is visible now. And we learn about after clicking on the button only I want to show this text. We already discussed in our previous example. We can explore that particular thing also. So yeah, we are discussing about the uncontrolled component, right? How can we, what is uncontrolled component? Uncontrolled component means are the forms in React where the browser's DOM control the input value instead of React state. So whenever you are creating a like a inputs like this using the use state, it is controlled by your use state hook, right? It is not directly controlled by your DOM. So if you are wish to create any kind of like a component or any kind of input field which is controlled by your word, your actual DOM, your word, your browser's DOM, so in that scenario you can use this use ref hook. Okay, like there is no much benefit of using this use ref, but still it will be asked in your interviews what is mean by, what is the difference between the control component, what is mean by uncontrolled component. We mostly always use this uncontrolled component, like this only, this one only, but still like in interviews they ask why we use what is control and what is uncontrolled component. So that is why we are discussing about it. So what is mean by uncontrolled component? Uncontrolled component are forms in React where the browser's DOM controls the input value. Okay, before it instead of React state. Okay, in control component your React state controls the component states, but when you use this use ref, so here the browser's DOM control the state. So you do not store the value in use state. Instead you read the value using the ref. Okay, here we use the use ref hook. So we will see what is use ref. So just normally how we use the use state, similarly we use the use ref hook also. So we will see how to use it, how can we create a uncontrolled component in our next class. Then after it we will in our next class we will see how can, what are the like how to handle the different input types. Like handling different input types means like when there are check boxes are there, when there are like a radio buttons are there, or there are select are there, how can we handle it. So we are going to learn that thing in our next class. Yeah, then after it we have use effect. This is really very important. Whenever you want to call any API, we use this use effect hook only. So we are going to cover this use effect hook in our next class. First of all we complete our this one, that is your uncontrolled component, and this multiple like how to handle the different kind of inputs. Then after it we learn about this use effect hook in our next class. So you guys have any doubt in our today's session? You guys want to ask me anything? Yeah, okay. I think it is not recorded. I am telling you one more time. Like whenever you want to deploy any web apps website which contains the code of React.js, Angular.js, you must have to use this Wordcell application. Okay, you can go to the Wordcell. I'm just showing so that it will be recorded. So you can just have to go to the Wordcell or Netlify also. Netlify is much more better. So you just have to choose this Netlify app. You have to select this one and you have to sign up, or you can do the login. So it will give you the option like this. You must have to choose the login with GitHub. Always remember, must have to choose the login with GitHub. So whenever you are clicking on this add new project, it will give you some options. So I want to import the existing project. So when you click on this one, it will recommend you all the repositories, which just choose this GitHub. It will recommend you all the repositories which is pushed on your GitHub profile. So see, it is showing me all the projects which is there in my GitHub account. So you can choose any, like this one. I'm choosing this. Yeah, I'm choosing this one. So you just have to give the name of your project. So I'm giving calculator something. It must be unique. Then don't do anything inside it. Just click on this deploy. So after deploying, it will give you the URL here. Now currently it is in the progress. Yeah, it is deployed. See, it is visible. So using this Netlify, you can deploy any kind of websites, like a web application you can deploy. You can use GitHub pages when it contains the code of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. If you want to push any websites, web application which contains some different code like React.js, Angular.js, you can't push it like this using the GitHub pages. For that we must have to use this Netlify, or you can use the Wordcell, or we can have some different options also, but the Netlify is better one. So yeah, that's all for our today's session. We will meet our next class. In that class we are going to learn about the use effect and our uncontrolled components. Okay guys, have a nice day. Bye bye.